All right, as promised, a favorite of the crew, a favorite of our viewers, and a Maple Leafs alumni to the point where he's wearing, Jeff, can you talk about this beautiful alumni jacket, first of all, that you're wearing? This is incredible, gorgeous.
You know what, Jay? Let's just say it's been a tough couple months, and I have a few jackets in my basement and I wear at home, and let's just say this is the only one that fits.
I understand.
As much as I like it, that's the story behind it.
I understand. Well, it looks great. You look great, buddy. Listen, I want to know, when you saw Dreg's tweet Tuesday night and we knew that Treliving was going to be the guy, just your initial reaction, because I know you've been talking a lot about it on Overdrive, the radio show leading up, but once you knew it was official, what was your initial reaction?
I think it's fantastic, Jay. I think Brad is a great guy. I think he's a great hockey guy. He's well connected throughout the league. And all the chatter about Tree is that he's always burning up the phone line, seeing what's out there, what's available, just staying connected to everyone. Now saying that he is all of this, it all comes down to what he's going to say tomorrow and what his plan of action is. Because if he just says, I think the team's great as is, then I don't even know why they needed a different GM. So it's going to be fascinating to hear what he says and what kind of plan he wants to put into action, because they've won one playoff round, this group of players, and it's not hard to make the decision that some things need to change. What he's going to decide that those things are, that's going to be up to him, and that's going to be fascinating to see. But that's the most important thing moving forward. I think these guys continue to show us time and time again that they're an unbelievable regular season hockey team. But when it comes to the playoffs, they're just the mix of guys that go out there that are counted on. It needs to be switched up a little bit, and how he decides to do that is going to be the most important element for him moving forward.
Now, I'm going to get more into the players in a second, but to steal from a segment on your Overdrive radio show, what is the Jerry's percentage that Sheldon Keefe returns as head coach next season? And follow up to that, Jeff, does he deserve to be back?
You know, one of the unfortunate things, and we had Brian Burke on Overdrive today, Jay, and he said the situation with the coach is just going to have to wait because he just got the job and there's some important business. And that all starts with Auston Matthews, what the intentions are, what the contract, if that's going to be signed, is going to look like. And the coach, after he goes through everything and talks to all involved with Auston Matthews, and then maybe figures out some other contracts or other decisions with key players, then I think you get to the coach. We just saw a coach in Nashville get fired not too long ago, a couple of days ago, and it is weird timing, but these things are unfortunate and they happen in the National Hockey League. So as far as Sheldon Keefe, I believe everyone in the organization, including Brendan Shanahan, likes Sheldon Keefe, kind of believes in what he brings to the table. But as far as what Tree thinks of that, it's going to have to be put on the back burner, and that decision is going to have to come later, fair or unfair as that is.
So you've already told us you like Brad Treliving. Do you agree with our colleague Craig Button that Treliving's experience dealing with the Matthew Tkachuk situation last summer makes him uniquely qualified to perhaps deal with this upcoming Auston Matthews situation?
I'll just say this about that situation, Jay, that any GM that dealt with it the way he did, ultimately there wasn't success in Calgary this year. But not a lot of organizations can pivot like that the way Brad did. And two of his best players said, I'm out of here. Johnny Gaudreau said he's not returning, and Matthew Tkachuk said, you might as well trade me because I'm not re-signing here. And for a lot of organizations, it might have been, well, we might as well get rid of everybody now, and we're going to go in a different direction, and maybe a tank is in order, and maybe we'll go for Bedard. But he pivoted pretty quickly, and he made some things happen, and he brought in some quality players. So I think that everyone commended his job last year when that happened, including myself.
You know, one thing that I think is underrated, and I think Anson Carter brought it up this year talking about Kevin Cheveldayoff, how sometimes the Canadian GMs, other than the ones in Toronto, we forget how hard their jobs truly are because so many players have those teams on their no trades lists. And you would assume that the Calgary Flames, in a lot of situations and a lot of attempts that Brad Treliving maybe made to make deals, might have run into that type of thing. Do you think now you have a situation where you're maybe not going to run into that as much, even from a free agent perspective? Maybe it's a more attractive destination. almost makes his job easier somehow? Like maybe we're underrating how great a job he did in a market where he dealt with those restraints?
Yeah, it kind of bothers me to hear that, but we're living in a world where I think 20 or 30 years ago when I was around and a bunch of the guys at TSN were around, you got drafted and you were just happy to go and make that your home wherever you were going to go play. That's just not the case right now, and guys have that choice and they have a lot of power and they can kind of demand where they're going to play hockey. But I think Calgary, a big part of the problem, and guys even bring it up, is the building. But I think when you have Austin Matthews and some of the talented players in Toronto and the facilities and all the resources they have and everything that's available to the players, I played there for 2 years, and Jay, you just don't get treated any better as a professional athlete. It's just from the time you walk in the door to go to work every day, you're just treated so well. It's unbelievable. So that should not be an issue here in this city.
Okay, one more for you, buddy. When Brendan Shanahan met with the Leafs core four, he reportedly assured them that the plan was to bring them all back, but now you have Brad coming in, and, it was kind of a power dynamic that maybe led to Kyle Dubas leaving. If Treliving does want to trade one of them and Shanahan doesn't, do you see another potential issue building here, or do you feel like these guys have ironed this out ahead of time and we're ready to go and Treliving has the full hammer here?
Yeah, I think this would all have been ironed it out in meetings before this hiring took place, that they would have been on the same page as far as what needs to happen. And as far as what actually does need to happen, Jay, I just think you have to look and see what's out there as regarding these players. Like I said, individually, they're so talented and they're all fantastic players. They put up unbelievable numbers. But the four of them together have kind of proven, I don't think we need to see any more of a sample size of all of them together attacking a playoff series or attacking the playoffs as a whole. I think that you would maybe need to switch it up. You look at two organizations that are playing in the Stanley Cup Finals right now. The Golden Knights said, you know what, we have to get rid of some key players and Tuck and Krebs, and we got to go out and get a first-line center. And obviously with the Florida Panthers, they won the President's Trophy, and they said, Jonathan Huberdeau, maybe we need to make a change there and bring in a real gritty character guy that can make big plays at big times. And they're both in the Stanley Cup Finals. So it would just be something to look at. You would have to explore it and at least look at it, because to expect anything different bringing them all back, I think that would be crazy.
So just to finalize, if they bring back the four of them, if the four of them are in the lineup this fall, your level of disappointment is what?
I don't know if you'd call it disappointment. I got no skin in the game. I sleep well every night. I just think it would be crazy to attack it and not kind of change the look of the team, the way the team looks as far as personnel and the approach to playing the game. I think it has to be different. There's regular season stuff. We see it all the time. Guys that have success in the regular season. And it's all about the playoffs. That's what the goal of this team is. They call themselves contenders. And a lot of people that cover the game and watch the Maple Leafs also call them contenders. But they have to realize that what they're bringing to the table, and they've done all these different things to kind of change and give the support to these key players. But the key players themselves, they're not getting it done as far as their on-ice performance or their approach and the way they play playoff hockey. So I see no harm in trying to change that up, Jay.
Jeff O'Neill, you're always great. We love having you on the show. And just a small request for future appearances. I'd love you to always wear that jacket because it looks great on you, buddy.
Well, there's no choice because it's the only one that fits.
Thanks, pal.
All right, buddy. We'll talk to you soon.